You know that feeling, right? When your eye just starts twitching for no reason? Or you let out a massive hiccup in a room that's dead quiet? Well, today we're going to decode all those weird, sometimes funny, and definitely annoying little glitches our bodies seem to have. I mean, really, truly glitching out like you're running on some kind of old, buggy software that every now and then just misfires and does something you totally did not ask it to do. If you've ever felt that way, trust me, you are not alone. We have all been there. That moment your eye decides to have its own little dance party. Or when you're the only one to hiccup during a super serious meeting. And of course, the dreaded brain freeze. But here's the thing. These aren't system failures. They're just fascinating misfires in our incredibly complex biological hardware. And today, we're going to figure them out. So let's start with our body's automatic programs, our reflexes. These are the things that are supposed to hum along quietly in the background, but every once in a while, they go completely rogue. First up, the absolute classic, the hiccup. So you've got this big muscle under your lungs called the diaphragm, and sometimes it just gets a faulty command from your brainstem. It spasms, which makes your vocal cords snap shut, and bam, you get that hic sound. It's the most basic system glitch you can imagine, a literal hiccup in your nervous system. And then we've got goosebumps. This one is a perfect example of our body's ancient software running on modern hardware. See, tiny little muscles make your body hair stand on end. Way back when, for our furry ancestors, this was super useful for looking bigger to a predator or trapping air to stay warm. But today, that same exact program runs when you hear an amazing song. It's an old survival instinct that's been repurposed for moments of what scientists call frisson, or aesthetic chills. How cool is that? The whole point here is that you're not in the driver's seat. These things happen to you, completely without your permission. And that's what's so wild. It's this little reminder of the disconnect between our conscious mind and our body's automatic, deep-seated programming. Okay, next up, let's talk about our body's internal wiring, the nervous system. This is where signals can get crossed, blocked, or just totally scrambled, and that leads to some really bizarre sensations. Pins and needles. You know the feeling? You sit on your leg the wrong way and it falls asleep. What's really going on is you're squishing a nerve, basically blocking its signal. When you finally move and release that pressure, all the nerves wake up and start firing at the same time, sending this chaotic flood of scrambled messages to your brain. It's not damage, it's literally your nervous system rebooting that entire limb. And now for the infamous eye twitch. This is just a classic sign of system overload. When you're exhausted, stressed out, or maybe you've had just one too many cups of coffee, your facial nerves can start to misfire. These little random twitches are basically your body sending you an SOS, telling you it's burning out. It's a literal short circuit. Have you ever walked out into the bright sun and immediately had to sneeze? If so, you might have what's called the photic sneeze reflex. And this is a fantastic example of crossed wires in your brain. So the optic nerve, which handles light, runs right next to the trigeminal nerve, which controls sneezing. For about a quarter of us, a sudden blast of light stimulates the optic nerve so much that it accidentally triggers its neighbor. One signal just kind of piggybacks on the other, and achoo! All right, for our last category of glitches, this is when your brain gets conflicting information from your senses. And in all that confusion, it just hits the big red panic button. Okay, get ready for this one. Sphenopalatine ganglionologia. Yeah, try saying that 5 times fast. This is the hilariously complicated scientific name for something we all know and, well, dread, the brain freeze. But here's the funny part. It has nothing to do with your brain actually freezing. When something super cold hits the roof of your mouth, it rapidly chills the blood vessels there. Your nerves send a panic signal, but your brain gets confused about where the signal is coming from and misinterprets it as pain in your forehead. It's just bad signal processing, plain and simple. And that brings us to motion sickness. This is the ultimate sensory disagreement. Imagine you're in a car, looking down at your phone. Your eyes are telling your brain, hey, everything's totally still. But at the same time, your inner ear, which senses balance and movement, is screaming, no way, we're moving, we're turning, we're bouncing around. Your brain cannot make sense of this conflict, so its ancient programming jumps to a wild conclusion. You must have been poisoned because you're hallucinating. The only logical response, trigger nausea to get that poison out. So after going through all these misfires and short circuits, it might be easy to think our bodies are just kind of flawed. But hang on, let's try looking at this from a different angle.
maybe these aren't flaws at all.
In the tech world, they say it's not a bug, it's a feature. And that's exactly what these are. These glitches are the fascinating side effects of an unbelievably complex and adaptable system. They're echoes of our evolutionary past, and they're proof that even in a machine as amazing as a human body, sometimes the wires get crossed in the most interesting ways. When you think about it that way, these little quirks stop being an annoyance and start being a really cool part of what makes you, well, you. So it kind of leaves you wondering, doesn't it? What's the weirdest thing your body does all on its own?